welcome to my studio. I'm here with a project share. This is a collaboration that was done with Tina Walker and Stencil Girl products. The name of this collaboration is 13 Days Adrift. We were challenged to take a small book that Tina supplied each artist who's participating and take the book apart, rework it, and put it back together in book form. And we were to choose a stencil or stencils from Stencil Girl products. And you could use, like, if you picked flowers, you could use numerous flower stencils, or circles, you could use numerous circle stencils. I was really drawn to this stencil that I've used quite a bit. I really love it. It is the Faces in the Crowd stencil. It is S445 Evans Stencil Girl product, and I was just intrigued by the little faces, and so I wanted that to be my focus. So I just used one stencil throughout my project. And the parameters were that we had to use all the pages in the book. We needed to use the cover that it came in some way. And it was really more like a little booklet. And then we also, everything had to be created within the color palette of black, white, and all shades of gray. And you could do, pretty much that was it. Those were the parameters, and you could do anything you wanted to. And so my inspiration came from, I was reading a nursery rhyme book to my youngest granddaughter, and we came to the little poem. This is the book. This was my book when I was a little girl, and we were reading this, and we came to the poem about Mistress Mary quite contrary. Well, I guess they call it Mary Mary. I learned it Mistress Mary. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all of a row. It was the little maids that were my inspiration. My granddaughter has a really big imagination, and she started talking about all the flowers and how wouldn't it be neat if our flowers could dance and sing and, you know, all these kind of things. And so that was sort of my take or inspiration on that. So this is a little darker than the bright Mother Goose Mary, but this is my contribution. So my book is about 4.5 by 7, and it is about 1.5 inches wide. Okay, before we dive into the book, I want to explain what I did with the booklet that I was sent. For the cover was a royal blue, and I took it and painted it black. I glued it to some cardstock and used it as my end papers in the front and back cover of my book. All of these backgrounds behind the artwork, that is the original pages. And what I did is I took them out, and I originally was just going to do it as, you know, regular signatures, but the pages were so frail and so brittle, I really couldn't do that. So I just glued each individual little folded page together and braid one side with white paint, and then I glued it to black cardstock and then worked on it from there. So all the pages of the book are included. They're just glued together, and they're just on one side of each page, if that makes sense. So that is what I did with my materials that I was sent. Okay, so now let's take a dive into the book. Okay, let's take a look at the book. On the 6th month and the 13th day, every 100 years, under a full silver moon, time goes adrift and strange things happen. Welcome to Mary's Magical Garden. Her garden blooms but once a year under a full moon. Fay folk, flower folk, and forest folk join Mary on this one special night when the woodland flora and fauna come alive. Pretty flower maidens sway on the breeze. Trees talk. Flowers dance. Fay folk play hide and seek. One flower whispers, morning is nigh, folding her petals and closing her eyes. The last to remain in the fading moonlight is the wishing pond reflection, bidding all a good night. The end. This was the 13 Days Adrift collaboration with Tina Walker and Stencil Girl. My featured stencil was Faces in the Crowd. And that's my offering. I will link a link to Stencil Girl products, to Tina Walker, and wanted to thank Tina for allowing me such a fun challenge, which it was challenging to me because I'm a person who loves color, and I really struggled at first and then finally felt like I found my footing, and I love the book I created, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you around the studio.